Hi, this is Ryan from Clovis Star Media. It is the 18th of April 2017. Today I'm coming to you to report about the incident that happened in Berkeley on the 15th of this month, a couple days back, where the so-called patriots decided to have a free speech rally on the 15th. They had planned it since March and promoted it, and it was their rally. They weren't going to disrupt anybody. They weren't going to fight. They were going for, people like Laura Southern and others to speak. And, they were just there for free speech, from what I can tell. The Antifa decided to show up and bring numbers from all kinds of areas of California. Some people drove 6-7 hours, including this girl who I'm going to show you a clip of, the girl with the dreadlocks that got hit at the event that's made mainstream media. And she got a big, GoFundMe project. She's trying to get all this money for, getting hit or whatever. But they had, posted on Facebook, including her. She said she was going to Berkeley to get 100 scalps from these protesters. She was going to kill people. And she brought a empty wine bottle. She was wielding that when she got hit. And it looks like her gloves were plated with steel. She was there for a fight. And she's got footage of her hitting this guy in the neck. She had hit at least one guy. And then her friend was hitting another guy next to him. I guess it was her boyfriend, was hitting this other guy with a stick. So they were there not for free speech. They were there for war. And, my theory on this is you play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. She shouldn't be, getting any funding from some crowdsourcing she's doing because she got hit. That's what she went for. She went for battle. She got the battle she was looking for. It's interesting the way that they cry wolf, and you'll see, I'll post a little video of her talking about how, she was just there to be a presence. She wasn't there for anything else. She was just wanting to show, numbers that, they weren't going to, stand for what's going on, the free speech that was happening there. And, she didn't mention any of the stuff she said on Facebook, or she didn't mention she was wielding weapons. And you'll see a couple more videos that I've got here of the Antifa people throwing bricks, throwing M80s, throwing mortars, smoke bombs. I guess the smoke bomb is what foiled their plans, because they threw a smoke bomb into the wind that was coming against them, and it smoked them all out and caused chaos. So the free speech people, the rally people, as they call them, pummeled them after they got clouded out by smoke. And so this video with her, this interview after the fact, is with, I believe, Tim Pool. And I've got some video of Tim Pool and the Rubin Report talking about what they noticed, what Tim Pool noticed while he was there. He had M80 thrown at him, it blew up in front of him, and so on, and all the violence that he saw and everything. So I just think it's interesting that, and he's kind of a liberal leftist guy, so is Rubin. It's interesting the perspective they've got on the Antifa. To me, and I've said this in other blog posts at disruptarian.com and also at clovisstar.com, that why is it the Antifa, the anti-fascist, are using violence and authoritarianism and basically fascism to combat fascism? It doesn't seem like they're against fascism if they're promoting fascism. To me, it seems like an oxymoron. But here's more on this, and you'll see some of the footage from the demonstration.
So first off, let's talk about the day. Did you go up to Berkeley that day, or?
Yeah, we left early in the morning to drive up. It was like a 6-hour drive. So we left very early in the morning and got there around, I think, like 1 o'clock. But yeah, everything happened like immediately when we got there.
Who were you with?
I was with 3 of my other friends, one of them being my boyfriend, who was also attacked in the whole incident. But those were the people that I went with and stuck with the whole time. We didn't really know anybody up there, but we knew that we'd be able to find friends very quickly. So.
Now, are you part of any groups that were up there, or were you just going on your own?
We kind of went up as a collective. I'm with the Oak Roots Collective, which is like a coalition of different groups in Ventura County and the Valley. And we kind of went just as individuals. We weren't going of like, oh, Oak Roots, but we just kind of went up to show our support and just be bodies present as counter-protest. Well, we probably weren't even there for like 20 minutes before we got rushed and the whole attack happened.
Describe that. Describe what happened. What do you remember?
So basically what happened, it all happened really fast, but a smoke bomb went off in the area where the white nationalists and the neo-Nazis were, and everybody was just kind of like confused like what was happening because it filled like the whole intersection. But they took the opportunity and they just started rushing and started attacking people on the other side. And so me and my friends were fleeing, and as we were running away, I lost most of my friends, but I was trying to find just follow my boyfriend, who suddenly just disappeared, and I couldn't see where he was. And the next thing I knew, I'm like trying to just like block myself away from different people who were like pushing me and just like attacking other people, and I was just trying to get out of where I was because I was in a really like cornered spot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they would allow Antifa to create a violent situation.
Right. So does Antifa ever do events themselves? Like, do they only show up to protest other people's speech and try to silence other people? Or do they ever actually do events where they get their ideas out? And I suspect that the free speech people probably don't try to shut them down. So we're not looking at, there's equivalence. It ain't here, right? I mean, do you know of any events where they've tried to say, we're holding an event at Berkeley right now, and these are our ideas, and we're going to get them out there, and we respect the way society is supposed to be?
What I will say is there's a lot of people who were probably with Antifa who are aligned with other groups that have done similar things. Mm-hmm. But there's extreme paranoia in Antifa. Mm-hmm. So it's important to realize that like Antifa has overlaps with many other hard left groups, anti-capitalists, anti-fascists, and it just like they're all flying the red and black flag. It's a very similar group of people.
Yeah, but the irony, they don't get irony at all, right? Antifa, anti-fascist, while they're using violence to silence other people.
They're authoritarian in that as individuals, they believe they have the absolute right to harm others, to push their politics.
Right, so they don't want to control you via the government yet, because they're not in charge of the government. But if they became part of the government, yes, they would be full-blown fascists at that point, right?
I talked to two of them. Most of them, I was receiving death threats from these people the day before, so most of them know who I am. They won't talk to me. But I talked to a couple, and they said they were communists. They weren't anarchists. So there is a mix. It's just a lot of, some people have the anarchist flag. But as communists, they do believe they have, not only the right to use violence to push their politics, but the right to control others at a macro level as a nation state.
And the right to use their iPhones while they tell you how bad capitalism is.
Right. Well, actually, the funny thing was when I was interviewing this young man, and I was explaining to him that he was authoritarian, that he brought a knife to a political rally.
Right.
He said, "I wish I had my phone so I could look this up." And I'm just like...
That's as good as it gets right there. That's many levels.
Many levels of just not knowing what you're talking about, wanting to use an international, a tool that was developed through international trade. It's very, very confusing, I guess.
Yeah. If you look at all the headlines and the way it's framed on Twitter, it's all, it was these Trump people, I didn't see any pictures of the whole hippie. So, but what about that? Because there is this idea in the mainstream media that it's the Trump people who are putting out all the violence. Does that give you pause when you hear that in other stories?
It's not true. Have there been right-wing people and Trump people who have been violent? Absolutely. We've seen that video where the protester was walking out and the guy punched him in the face. Mm-hmm. We've seen more than that. But 80% of the time, it's anti-Trump protesters running people down. I've watched old people get thrown to the ground and stomped. I've watched, in San Jose, an old couple was shoved to the ground, their hat was ripped off and set on fire. There was an immigrant who was trying to walk past where the event was taking place, nothing to do with either event, and they broke his nose.